Welcome to your Joyful Riches podcast, where you gain precious tips and tools for creating your beautiful, joyful, thriving life. This podcast is delivered alongside G100 Global Networking and empowered by Anchor FM. This week, we are so thrilled and honored to have Benjamin with us. Benjamin, would you care to share with us what is it that you do?
So I am a life mastery consultant. I am an adventure. See, I can't even remember. I told you earlier, Bridget, I was stumbling on the word. So I'm a transformational adventure retreat leader, and I am a transcendence facilitator. So those are the
Wow. A life mastery consultant and a transformational adventure retreat leader and a transcendence, so some kind of dancing facilitator. That is amazing. How do you get to where how do you get to do this? You always like, when you were a kid, you kind of like, okay, I want to be a dance instructor and a retreat leader, or is it something that you discover along the way?
That's a great way of posing that question. I love that. So the dancer part, not so much at all. That was something that has just arrived within the past 3 years. The life coach piece is there was a calling for me that I had for a long time in my life, and then about 7 years ago, I became a life coach. But the transcendence question in that is really fascinating because that was not on my horizon at all. And I had been life coaching for a while and leading workshops, to get people acquainted with me. And I had a conversation with Jennifer Joy Jimenez, who's the creator of that modality. And it's a conscious dance modality, right? It's about helping connect our body, mind, and spirit together. And I had this conversation with her. I was like, I want to put these energizers into my workshop, Jennifer, I think. And I said this directly. I said, but I don't think I can find my way to a beat out of a brown paper bag. I don't feel like I can dance very well. I said, I was thinking of hiring somebody to help me out. What do you think about that? And she said, well, funny you should ask. I think you should join me and become certified as a transcendence facilitator, not so much to do that, but to get the healing of your body in the process. And and that began a journey that was very surprising to me. I was not anticipating that in any way. I got started this, as I said, it was just about 3 years ago, actually, that I started that journey. And I signed up to do that. I said yes, which was also surprising because most of my self-development stuff, I'm like, I have these big nails going down the chalkboard, like, no, 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 okay, I'll do it. But this one, I was like, just yes, it seemed like a logical thing to do. Uh, so I did, and taking a few classes, she has you take 2 classes a month with her of being a transcend dancer. And after like 5 or 6 classes, I had the experience of having my body move me, which was the first time that that had ever happened in my life. And understand that that's a really huge thing for a guy like me, because back in my early 20s, I had also this thing where I talked about where I was when I met Jennifer, but even before that, in my early 20s, I was so lack of body consciousness awareness that I would have said of myself that I had 3 left feet, not one, not two, but 3. Like it was bad. I mean, it was really bad. So, so, so to be the place where I could have my body dance me, and by that I mean the music was playing, my body was music moving, and I wasn't thinking about it. I wasn't thinking about what I was doing or how I looked or what moves I was making. My body was just moving to the music, and that was a really profound moment for me, a really profound piece of movement. And then I went through the further training of it, and in the intensive training part, about 8 months later, I'm going through the process, and I discover that I have this body shame that I've been carrying my whole life. I didn't even know I had. And that's kind of shocking, we think, because many women in today's society, many women, it's a thing. Well, we have body shame, and that's what we're supposed to do. That's part of our makeup. But people don't think that men have body shame too. And yet here I am, you know, and I just turned 30 for the 30th time. So a large chunk of my life later, saying, what is this body shame I've been carrying my whole life? And I really, it's been, that was a big thing. And so I've really healed that through the process of transcendence, which is phenomenal.
Wow, that is so amazing. That is so amazing. I was going to ask, how did you get into, how did you move past? Because a lot of time in this society, in the modern Western society, at least, a lot of time people say, or for gentlemen to say, oh gosh, you know, I mean, never mind the dancing, even the life coachings, you know, we want to be strong, right? We don't need all these sissy things, so to say, of coaching, and then the dancing, that's just for, you know, unless you're a professional dancer, you know, let's or dancing in the club or something, that's just for women or for people who are weak. So how do you move for any people who, for any gentleman or anyone who know a gentleman who can benefit from this? How did you move past that stigma or that concept, but preconceived concept that many time people have?
You have some fantastic questions. I love that, actually, because the truth is, I have really a particular honor bestowed on me because I was the first male ever certified to be a transcendence facilitator. So, and in the process of that, there's this thing that happens in transcendence. It's just, it's so magical. And part of the answer to your question about that is that, you know, as I went through the facilitation process, like I had no, like, even as I went through the process and I did the whole 4-day intensive thing with Jennifer, I still was not thinking at that point that, oh yeah, I'm going to be teaching to people. Like, that was not in my wheelhouse. But she then said to us as a class, it wasn't an invitation, it was a demand. She's like, so now you've done your training, so when are you submitting your dissertation? Which is what we have to have her okay, that says, now you're okay, I see that you're teaching the modality that I have created and you are doing it the way I would like to, and now you can charge money. And I thought to myself, well, I have paid all this money. I have spent all this time. I just did this training. It would be good to have it as an extra something. Why not? And so I started preparing to submit the dissertation. And to do that, you have to teach in front of people, live people. So I gave a few classes. And what I found as I was giving the classes was that the experience that the people were having while I was leading them, even though at that point in time I was not that skilled as a leader, they were like, wow, this was amazing. And I had people coming to me who were saying, there's this thing that just changed inside of me. I healed this thing. And, you know, different things, different places, different people. And so what happened is I started falling in love with the modality more and more, and I started falling in love with teaching it. And like I said, once I submitted the dissertation, I was like, okay, I'm doing it. I'm going to do this. And so now, I mean, it's phenomenal. I mean, the guy who asked Jennifer that conversation, he couldn't even put an energizer together. And now I'm teaching online twice a week. No, I mean, not twice a week, twice a month, no matter what, and sometimes 3 times a month. And I've just been doing some teaching live. I love teaching it live. It's even better live in person. And just this past week, I got a couple of weeks ago, I got okayed to teach at one of the town beaches, local town beaches where I live in Rhode Island. And I gave my first class at the beach, and man, like, I only had one student that particular day, but I've got one coming up on Monday again, and I've got like a half dozen who are coming. And just how powerful it felt to be there. And the thing is that the more I do it, the more free my body. I move my body in an entirely different way than I used to. I carry my body in an entirely different way. when Jennifer interviewed, was having that conversation with me the very first time, she says of me, and I think correctly, that I carried myself almost apologetically. So I kind of had my shoulders hunched over and I had my neck forward a little. And if you had asked me, I would have thought I was standing perfectly straight and fine and good. But now you see, my shoulders are back, my head is up. I'm like, I carry myself as a different being in the world. And it's just so powerful. So I think the shortest line answer to your question is that there's this thing that happens through transcendence, that I'm more connected to my body, mind, and spirit. That's what the modality does, and I am. So it doesn't matter what anybody else thinks. Let them think it, kind of.
Wow, but sounds like from what you say just now, the dancing, I mean, sometimes people kind of like, oh, this dancing and things like that. But sounds like it will also be beneficial from what you said. It's, with your posture, because we know how our posture help our physical health, first of all, and then it's also help our confidence. Kind of like, even did it now, if you, let's say you have a meeting and you go hunch like that, you're going to feel worse. So it's something that just from that, it will allow you to change your physical health as well as your result. Sounds like if you're able to stand up and release, as you mentioned, some shames.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, and so when we look at the modality of transcendence as a conscious practice is not like we're trying to get together to do dance steps. Like, I'm not teaching you steps and you have to follow me, or was I following Jennifer? It's, let's see how your body moves. It's a process of so the modality of transcendence is like a guided meditation, and it takes the practice of yoga up off the floor and into a a little bit of a high crescendo thing, and then brings us back down to the floor, taking the practice of yoga and turning it into free form movement. And through that, we are coming into our bodies as though we are coming into our bodies like children do for the first time in our lives. So there's a way of self-discovery in the process that's just, it's not that I carry my shoulders back because now I dance better and I carry my shoulders back. It's I carry my shoulders back because there's this inner healing that has happened. Does that make sense? So
Yeah, that is so wonderful. That thank you for clarifying that with for our audience. And so sounds like it's a beautiful and probably fun as well healing modality. And so it's not just a physical thing, but it's really help people heal inside out, almost, and in a way through both physical and transformative as well. So
mhm.
with your experience, and you mentioned you are a life coach as well, and you mentioned you earlier that you always kind of part of you want to become a life coach, and you became a life coach 7 years ago. And what brings you to finally, I think it's a lot of our audience, sometimes people in our audience, they might have something in them that says, you know what, I kind of feel called to do this, or, oh, I always want to do that, but this debate, right? This is practical and that's not practical, or all whatever reason, or what would people think, and on and so on and so forth. Would you care to share your journey, perhaps, or how is it that moved you from doing what you used to do and to become a life coach, to finally follow the calling that since you were a child?
Well, it wasn't since I was a child. It started happening. The calling started about when I was about, I would say 28-ish, 28 or so. I would say that
Mhm.
because I had grown up. I actually grew up in a very difficult situation. I had abuse in my household. It made it very hard for me. It made it look, by the time I was 15, 16, 17, 18, that, I thought I was calling for freedom, but it looked much more like I was running away from life. I got into substance abuse, and by the time I was 23, I wanted to die more than anything else, really. So it was, I had some dark stuff back there, but I started to have spiritual awakening around the time I was 23, and that changed the direction of my life completely. And by the time I was 28, I was like, there was this like, I need to help people. I mean, part of it was that I was seeing that the help I was giving myself was impactful to help others. And so I fell in love with this. And so I was really studying the principles that I teach now, but none of it was sorted. I couldn't put together the way that it was all happening. But now I say that I've got proven, reliable, repeatable tools that I teach people. And, I had grown from the 28-year-old through the 50 something, where I had a fairly successful life in many ways. And I was working in a boatyard, and I was at the boatyard in my 7th winter there. And it was in here in New England. If you don't know, it's the kind of cold that goes right through your bones, and it was like a Thursday, and I had all those days before it. I had gone home and fallen into bed the night, and slept through till the next morning. I slept from 6:30 to 6:30 when it was time to get up and do it again. And I was not living my life fully, and I had that calling inside of me, but I was like, what is happening? I drove to work. I'm like, I'm gonna have to get out there again. And I rolled my tools out to a boat, and there was this little space heater I had for me that I was going to work on and work with inside a boat covered in plastic. And it's the kind of cold outside. Every time I tell the stories, even though I'm telling you this now, my fingers start to hurt from that kind of cold. Like it was that cold. And I was just like, I can't keep doing this. I have to make life coaching a viable option. And then, of course, I found when I made the decision, Brigitte, when I made that decision, there were things that fell in place for me. I found my primary mentor right now, and several other mentors through her, all of whom, and Jennifer Jimenez being one of them. Mary Morrissey was the primary, and she gave me a proven, reliable, repeatable set of tools that I teach people how to bring results into their lives that they love to have. And from that place where I was not having, I don't know how anybody else would feel in that situation, but where I was not traveling the way I wanted to, having relationships I would love to have, being present in my life the way I really wanted to be. Like I get to travel now. I travel quite a bit, which I really love. And I spend quite a bit of time in France, which is one of my favorite places in the world. And I do some of my favorite things. I'm a physically active guy. I like to stand up paddleboard. I like to hike. So I'm doing all these things, and I have great relationships with friends really from all over the world. Like I'm so blessed right now. I'm so thrilled for that. So
Wow, that is so awesome. From what I catch you here, I just want to point out, it sounds like almost sounds like you make the decisions and then fall and act on that. And then just the next things and the next thing happen, and it leads you to sounds like more than what you even imagined with all the traveling and the relationship and everything. That's so awesome. And is when you mention traveling, is that what the travel adventure about, or are you talking about something different? Tell our audience about the travel adventures. That sounds fun. Is that going to France, or are you going somewhere else?
that's a fantastic question also. Now, I do get to travel a lot of different places besides France, but yes, France! Yes, France! Can you hear my enthusiasm? I love France. I am totally in love with the country of France and French culture, French language, French cuisine. And it was a dream I had, it was kind of a baby dream. I didn't even know that I really had it as a dream when I started becoming a life coach to help lead retreats where I get to bring people to experience the culture that I love and lead the retreats in such a way that I do bring a lot of adventure. And so when I bring people to France, we have a week-long program that I do there that is a transformational adventure retreat. And it includes being in the south of France along the Mediterranean Sea. And we do stand-up paddling in the Mediterranean Sea. We do some hiking in one of the most beautiful national parks in all of the south of France. And We also do some, a delight and surprise bonus adventure that you have to come to France with to find out where that is. But but it's all fun. And as a person who is a Francophile the way I am, I have also been a French teacher. So I speak fluent French, and I make it easy for people to get around the country and understand the culture and how to appreciate the culture the best they can. And I give them plenty of experiences with different French restaurants, different French cuisines. And so it's a real, and one of the things about it, Brigitte, that I love the most is that it's teaching the principles I teach in a very focused way, but also letting clients experience their dreams coming through just through the act of going to France and having the opportunity to kind of challenge themselves a little bit, put themselves in situations they wouldn't necessarily have. Because one of the things, I used to think I wanted to only take people who knew how to paddle, but then it became clear to me that part of the retreat is teaching people how to stand up paddle. So there's people facing this like, how do we move through fear? And I teach transcendence too through this process, and the transcendence is magical, as I said. So
Wow, that is so awesome. That is so awesome. Sounds like, first of all, it just sounds so much fun. Going to southern France, and anybody never been to that area. That's just a great opportunity because it sounds like it's fun. And then also you experience all this growth all in 1 week, and you also get to experience the transcendence that you said, very healing. It's definitely very healing. I've experienced this transcendence in the past. It's definitely was super healing with any body shames or body image and the confidence. And I love how you say some to that you enjoy helping people who learn to learn who might not know how to do something, whether it's paddle boarding or something else's, which I don't know how to paddle board, by the way, now that I just think about it. But it's paddle boarding or something else's, and to make their dream come true. It could be even going to France, how they do that. So that is so awesome. I love that. Now, do you have any, being a life coach and being a transcendence and helping people creating the life they love and healing themselves, is there any particular, say, one or two tips that you have for our audience in terms of perhaps in being able to move forward from many times in this day and age, people's like, oh, I'm so, like you mentioned, I'm so done doing this, or I'm so done doing that, but I have whatever that but, right? Or perhaps they just even know, oh, you know what, it's good for me to be able to receive support from, say, you, but oh, I'm a guy and there's all these people saying all these things. Or is there any tips that in one or two tip you have for people such that they're able to move forward, that if there is a nudge in them, that they're able to say, okay, you know what, we're going to just have a little adventure and do this and give it a try?
that's a great question, and really only one or two? Only one or two?
Well, we could have
No, no.
multiple sessions actually. It'll be more.
Well, I just say, because I'm running through my head. I'm like, what are the one or two? Well, and as you ask that question, particularly in the essence of this conversation that you and I are having, the first thing that comes to me is find a coach. Find a coach. It doesn't matter who it is. Find it. I mean, if it's you, I know you are a generous and giving and powerful coach. If it's me, I am a generous, giving, and powerful coach. If it's neither of us, find somebody, find the person that resonates with you. Find somebody who can help you, because what happens is we, of our own volition, if we're looking at ourselves in the picture, we can't see what's going on when we're the ones in the center of the picture frame. So find a coach is the first thing I say. But then the other thing I would say relative to the transcendence, transcendence is for you no matter where you are on your trail in life, whether you're a professional dancer or you have injury. Like I taught one class to a woman who did her whole class on her back, on the floor, dancing with her fingers in her eyes, and she still had an amazing, fantastic experience and experienced healing through it. So the thing is that our issues get stored in our tissues, and movement sets you free. So I would say, find a way to do some movement, find a way to do some movement to some music, because you start to begin to understand we've got this body vessel and this body wants to live. So those are the two top tips I would give if you want only one or two.
I love that. I love the first part though, because a lot of time people say, oh yeah, but you know, a coach are not free and all these things. But sometimes when you are and you know, oh, I'm just gonna dabble here or there on YouTube or something, you know, get a little free here and free there. But it's kind of like I love it how I have this experience when I was in Sedona once. I was sitting by this, it's kind of like a set of low grass or something. And there is this insect in the middle of the whole thing. And it's just like spinning around. It's like the insect just spinning around and trying to get out from this little bundle of like grass stuff all over, and the insect was trying to get out of it. You can tell that it's like trying to navigate its way out. And from up above, from being outside the picture, so to say, like you said, you know, if you sat in the center of the picture, you can't see. Being outside the picture, I could easily see that, okay, if that little bug there go this way and this way and this way and this way, it will actually get right there. So, but the bug is spinning around and spinning around, and it's kind of like it's the bug kind of like can able to like jump up a little bit. It doesn't fly. I don't know why. I don't know my bugs, so I don't know what it is or why or whatever. But the bug kind of like jump up a little bit and it jump up a little bit. And it made me think about people a lot of time talking about life coaching. There are many things out there that says, oh, you know what, this is, you watch a little YouTube or you watch a little this or a little 3 days here or a little 3 days there, and then it kind of like give the bugs a little, like this with these bugs is a little boost, boom, okay, yeah, I can see there is something out there, so you're not like, you know, here and there is hopeless. Oh, I can see that. But then the bug got back down and they're like, yeah, apparently there is something over there instead of all this grass here, but I still can't find the way out. And so I love how you say that, you know, find a coach such that you can have a structure, consistent structure until you reach what it is that you want, instead of just a one-time thing here and there. And I love what you said, your issues is stored in the tissue. And so as with my medical background, we know that sometimes, I mean, even just like if someone were to have an infection or something, you can't take antibiotic just once. You kind of need to do it until it resolves in a consistent manner. I mean, if you have a physical infections with a doctor, but if this is something else with a coach, that is so beautiful. That is so awesome. Now, how and you mentioned your transcendence is online as well. So how do people connect with you if they want to learn about this or want to have fun while growing, sounds like, with your adventure retreat?
That's I love that. Thank you for asking that. The quickest way to find me is through my website. My website is acreativehealingplace.com. All one word, A Creative Healing Place. It's important to put the A in there apparently because there are other things that are not, but acreativehealingplace.com. And I have an events tab there that lists all my transcendence classes that are scheduled out. And as of a week from today, I know that I will have my classes scheduled out through next May on that site. So if there's something, I offer results that way. And there's also a tab on my event page that talks about retreats. If you are interested in an adventure retreat, there's a tab that will take you right to information about that. So there's plenty of information there. So, and thank you.
That is so awesome. That is so beautiful for people to be able to do that. A creative healing space.com.
Place.
And
Yes.
and we'll have the link under this this video as well, so you can definitely check out and click on the link as well under the video as well. And as we close our time together, thank you so much for the beautiful conversations. As we close our time together, do you have a final message for our audience?
So, Brigitte, first, I would love to thank you for this opportunity to be with you. And it's great to talk with you, and I really appreciate that. The final thought I would have for people is really, movement does set you free. So let the movement set you free. Let the movement set you free.
Love it. That is so beautiful. Movements does set you free, and we all deserve to be able to have true freedom in our life. Thank you so much, Benjamin. Thank you so much for sharing your brilliance and your tips and all the fun informations that you have for us, how giving us a hope for people, men and women with body shames or any other challenge that we have. Thank you so much for you sharing with us today. And for you, our audience, please share 1 or 2 gold nuggets that you learn from this conversation so we can continue learning from each other. And please share this video with everyone you know, because we never know, just like Benjamin shares today, being a guy and way into his 30th birthday. He never even realized that he had body shames, which has been limiting him all this time. While now it's allow him to be yes, to be more free, but to live an even more beautiful life and helping others as well. So please share this video with everyone and anyone whom you care. And this is Dr. BirgitteTan with G100 Global Networking USA and founder of the International Childhood Cancer Charity and your grief transformation specialist. I thank you very much for sharing your time with us, and I look forward to see you again very, very soon.